your
Oh, yeah.
superpower. And so, I've heard you, Amanda, say time and time again, that's your superpower. That's your superpower. What's your superpower? Calling it in. And there's this part of me that gets it. And then there's this part of me that's like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Mm.
What would be my superpower? So why don't you lead us into really unfolding what your superpowers entails, and then let's get into it.
Okay. So when I
What?
Not putting you on the spot.
No, I'm sitting there going, Amanda, I was like, not expecting this one.
All right.
Let's go.
So, I believe everybody has a superpower. And
Just one? I'm sorry to interrupt you already, but just one?
No. Beautiful question. Question. No, I think we have many different superpowers. Yeah. And I think that those superpowers it doesn't always have to be, the biggest and the brightest thing about you. Sometimes those superpowers are the things that people have told you that it's not your superpower, that it's not a good thing about you, or that you've not been taught to love that thing about yourself that you can expand or that you can grow into. Your superpower is that thing that's the magic about you, and it's that thing that is the strength of you, that is the thing that you can own. I think this is what I was saying like before. It's that thing that you have to own. Many people have to own it. And I've always spoke about this, owning the strength that you have and honing it. And then, and then, if you wanted to, you could bring it to the world, or you may use it to stir your tea. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, but it's that thing about you that lights you up.
Mm.
And then it seems to light up other people's world as well, or even those people around you. So your superpower can be anything. But what happens is that a lot of people say, like, they would come to me and they're trying to find out what their mission is and what their purpose is and stuff like that. But they often don't know anything about themselves. But you're looking to know what your mission is in the world, and you don't even really know who you are. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's what it is. What is your superpower? What do you love about yourself? What do you know about yourself that you can do? For me, I know that, if you ask me, I am, apart from time traveling and everything else like that, I'm pretty good at putting together the pieces of a puzzle. And I don't mean a physical puzzle. I think that if you bring me the pieces of you, I'm pretty good at putting them together, whether putting them together physically, mentally, emotionally, or all the different stories. If you brought me all different parts and segments of your life, or you tell me certain things that have happened, I can find that common thread that runs through all of them. And then I go, oh, I know what's happening. Let me explain it to you. Do you know what I mean? Or let me share this with you, or let me tell you the story. So I think that, like, Rachel, great question. I think we have many different superpowers, but we address and we own none of them.
I agree that you have that superpower, but that's not the superpower I would have, like, the first three superpowers that come to me, that wouldn't have been one of them. So I realized, I can sort of feel my superpowers. Like, I think Yana can. I can feel them. I'm not saying that I don't have them, but it's very difficult for me to discern them, into
articulate them.
Yeah, but boy, it's easy for me to see it in you guys. Like, I could easily go through and name superpowers for all of you.
Go on.
So,
go on,
okay.
Rach.
Yeah, go on.
That's the easiest one.
We're ready to hear about us.
And I'll give you one flavor, but this is the tip of the iceberg with these ladies. But Lauren obviously always knows what anybody's thinking or trying to say, because she says it for you. And she finishes your sentences, and she takes your jumbled words and she makes it into something eloquent and beautiful. So that, I know, is her superpower.
Yeah.
Kylie, honestly, what comes up for me, and I know you're so much more than this, but you're just so fearless. You're so fearless, and you're so bold, and you're so determined, and, you just don't shy away from anything. You're unflinching Do you know what I mean? Under all circumstances, besides the fact that, of course, you have amazing other powers and intuition and stuff like this. Yana, Jesus Christ, you are just like the catalyst of all catalysts to end all catalysts. Like, don't tell Yana anything, because when you've told her you'll be doing it or something, or you'll be doing stuff that you've never wanted to do, or like don't go anywhere near her unless you want to be doing something.
Yeah, that's right. Catalyst. Yeah, catalyst. Yeah.
She'll light a fire under your butt.
Yeah. And like, honestly,
and get you to move.
When I think about you professionally, the kind of things that you have really helped me with, you have a beautiful way of talking about difficult things and using yourself as an example. I don't know how else to express that. And I'll think about another superpower, because that's not very good. Oh, honestly, I'm trying to get past your freaking light body surgery, and that's very difficult at the moment. So, you know, obviously part of your superpower is seeing 5-dimensional objects solidify. So that's pretty powerful. Yeah. But as a personality thing, look, honestly, when I think about when I first met you, and, you know, you guys were saying that I have this mothering, I don't know if it's mothering, but I knew instantly as soon as I met you, you were extraordinarily powerful, and that you were, this is what I did. I described you, please don't take offense at this in any way, because it's not like this, and just think about the personality. You're like the best of a silverback. Do you know what I mean? Like, you are protective, you are alert, but you are not at all dominating. Do you know what I mean? There's a certain power in you that is not overwhelming, but is also absolutely immutable. So you won't go anyone, but there is absolutely no way that anyone is going to go at you or anyone behind you as well.
Right.
That kind
like
of thing. You hold that kind of space of like, no one's moving here.
Right. Fully protected.
Amanda's really good as she sits back, but if she needs to step in and correct something, she doesn't care. She'll step in and she'll correct it. And you do it in a very beautiful way. You're not like dismissive to the other person. You're not anything. You're just like, well, in my opinion, this is my fact and this is how it is. And you do in such a confident, dominating, but not overpowering way, just the way you said it, Rachel. But what's also really interesting, Rachel, is everything that you just pointed out about everybody else, in my mind, is what I see in you.
Yeah. And look, also just as you were saying that, I was like, everything I've just pointed out in everybody is what I see in all of us. So, but that's something that happens with us when we're together.
You know, the funny thing is that when you were speaking, Rachel, I thought you was talking about Yana.
There you go. But at the same time, to use us as an example, here we are saying we all have similar attributes, and yet all of us would agree that we are completely different flavors.
Yeah.
Yes.
Different.
Yeah.
So we embody all of those qualities, and we're nothing like each other. Well, you know what I mean.
Right.
Overall.
You know, a really important piece to this superpower element is that you mentioned, Amanda, is that it's very much also the thing that other people told you was your weakness or the thing you needed to change or shift. And when I first heard you say that, it took me back to just being younger. And, you know, I was always very sensitive, huge empath energy, right? I'm always feeling other people's energies. If you cry, I cry. That's just how I am. And I just always remember my brother being like, stop crying. You're always crying. So what are you crying for? It's like, cut it out. And I'm like, I don't think I can't. Like, it's not like I'm choosing to cry. I can't just cry when I want to cry. Yeah. But when I'm feeling the energy of a situation, whether it's positive or negative, for example, even like if someone's saying something really beautiful, the beauty, that energy of it hits me and I'm going to cry. If something is tough and challenging, I feel the energy of that too. And it's funny because when I was younger, I had moments where I was like, oh God, please, like, shut it off, shut it down. Like, you're trying to minimize it. Don't let people see you cry. Right. Because even like, especially if you're like a male, if you're a young boy, boys don't cry. Well, boys do cry.
Yeah.
And so we're taught to kind of like shut this down. And I will say, like, for a minute, for me, it was shut down because, you know, you go through life and things happen and whatever. But I think that sensitivity, that being able to express emotion, feel emotion, all those things, that is such a superpower and such a gift. And I think it also allows others to be able to do the same.
Yes, it does. And this is that's the crux of it, that when we can step into our power. And so, funny enough, I was going to say that in thinking about this show today, I was thinking about, you know, in the sense of it, how important it is, in a sense, to our listeners, to our watchers, to be able to acknowledge a superpower, even if it's only one that they can figure out or even feel today, and step into that, and create that. So it's really important what you just said, about.
Can I just say,
sorry. Yeah.
Honestly, what came up with my intuition, ladies, is, what I think what was happening, what I think is interesting is your brother trying to shut down your crying, is that, I've taught to you guys that I have this theory that when you're around other people, you can emulate their gifts and you can emulate their talents if you're in close proximity. And honestly, what I believe was happening is a twofold thing between you and your brother. And your brother was tapping into your ability to empathize at the same time as tapping into an emotion that you were experiencing that was making him feel uncomfortable. And that's why he was shutting you down. So it was like two things happening at once. So anyway, just to chuck that in.
No, I can see that. But and that goes back to you expressing it and you sharing that allows other people, whether they like it or not, they're going to feel it. So it's up to them. Are they going to reject that energy, or are they going to allow it to come in? And I think another big one too is forgiveness. I've always been a very forgiving person. And, going back to my family, they're lovely people. But my brother and my sister, they're a lot more stern and tough externally, right, than I am. I'm softer. And so
that's hysterical with us knowing you.
I know. But my forgiveness, I'm very forgiving, sometimes to a fault, right? But people view forgiveness as a weakness. And it's wild to me that anybody can view forgiveness as a weakness, but they do.
Yeah, people, but very often you can find that people that do view it like that is because they are holding on to, well, not holding on to, there's some kind of trauma usually that they could have experienced that has never really been acknowledged or looked at. And by forgiving, they think that it's been let go. But what the understanding really is that, Sunny, funny enough, something that I saw just the other day on my Married to Medicine series.
Love it.
And when, oh God, I forget who was talking to who, but she was talking to her husband about something about forgiving someone. And her husband said, that in her wise words that she had once said, that the forgiveness is for you. It isn't always for the other person. The forgiveness is for you.
Yeah.
Was that Jackie? Any situation. Not Jackie, the one who's her good friend who works. Simone. Yeah, Simone.
Simone and Cecil. Love them.
Simone and Cecil. That's right. Simone and Cecil. Yeah.
God, you guys.
Yeah. So look. It's really good series. It's really heated up.
Let me tell you why that series is so good. The sisterhood in that, the support for each other. I may not like you right now, but I will root for you. The way they show up for each other on a fundamental level. Yes, the show is drama. Reality TV is all about stupid drama, right?
Yeah.
But at the core of it, the way they show up and support each other is like no other show on TV.
Yeah.
And that is,
I mean, they always come back together.
So again. Beautiful. Always. Anyway, okay, we're totally digressed. But
yes. that was just an advert.
I'm trying to think of superpowers I'd like to have. Do any of you have superpowers you'd like to have that you don't think that you have? I'm thinking my best friend has this amazing ability to hold space in a way that nobody else can.
Oh, so I know somebody like that.
She can she's got forever for a start. So there's that, you can take forever. She has forever. And she will sit with any amount of discomfort and not try to relieve it at all, just hold the space. And I think that's an amazing superpower that I can possibly build up some muscle towards.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that anyone can think of they want
like
to do?
That. So
I don't want Kylie's superpowers.
No.
I don't want to have to deal with what Kylie deals with. I have a friend
like that who holds space like that. Her name's Sharon. She may be listening. And she is that kind of person whereby, so she holds space in a different way, that if you was ever going to go traveling, she's that anchor that you need.
Okay.
Holding that space back in the real world. Okay. And she's that person that will hold that space for you in order
You're talking about astral traveling.
Yeah. We're not talking about going to Japan.
Right. In my mind, I was going to Japan.
Yeah. I was too. I'm like, does she organize tours and dinner reservations?
Like always like, yeah, I'm down to go to Japan. That's where my mind.
Like, only you would be able to tell someone that you planned on going traveling for a start. Yeah. Like, I'd like to book you in. I want you to, can you hold the space for me? I'm going at 9
Just need to pop into the other dimension.
Tuesday. No, I'll be back by 7 a.m. Just hold me there.
Well, but she's that kind of person that would be in a, say, like a training or, that you're training with or something like that. And she, she doesn't talk too much. She doesn't, talk, what I mean? She's got a fantastic sense of humor, but she's that solid energy that that you could travel anywhere with, and it's all gonna, what I mean, that it's gonna be fine. She's the one that says, she'll be the one that says, Amanda, I think you need to probably pull back here, and we need to exit. You'll be like, oh, okay, I'm out. You know what I mean? You're not even gonna be like, I'm gonna push it a little bit. She's saying, nah, I'm out. You know what I mean?
So she's a Kylie.
Sense. She's a Kylie.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah.
Listen, let me tell you about Kylie. Kylie.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Let's go there. Let's do it.
We'll talk about you.
Let's own it. Come on.
Listen, the other day, Kylie had to check one of my guides.
Oh.
Okay. And now I know we've talked about this before in our guides episode. Well, we're like, if your guide's not up to par, you can fire them and ask for a new one to come in. And here I am in real time in session with Kylie. And all of a sudden, some weird shit started going on. And she was like, what's happening here? And I'm like, who is she talking to? And she's like, are you not able to protect? Do we need to bring somebody else? Where's Archangel Michael? And I'm like, oh my God. And she's just like, you need to be up to par. She's telling him. And I'm thinking to myself, that's right, Kylie, you tell him I love you, my guide, but you tell him, because I'd have no idea currently that was happening.
Yeah, he had to check himself before he wrecked himself. But, it's funny because I do deal with a lot of dark stuff, right? And it's my jam. And as I'm usually on voicemail with Lauren after a lot of heavy sessions, and I'm like, and she's like, yep, this is what you like. This is you. This is like.
I'm like, listen to your voice. This is your jam. It's like, you're so lit up right now. I'm just going to hide under my bed.
It's funny because I am tough. I feel deeply. I wish I could be more openly emotional. You know what I mean? Because I am come across as a bit of a cold-hearted bitch, but I do feel deeply. I wish I could get that out and be like, oh my God, that was so beautiful. I'm just oh, that's nice. And
but
I
feel express yourself like that with your kids though, Kylie?
No, it's a little different. It's a little different with them. You know what I mean? Like, I will have moments where I'm watching them do something and I'm like having a little tear come down, like, oh, I'm so proud of them, But if my husband did that, I'd be like, good on you, buddy, and move on. Let's move on. Good on you. I don't want to give you too much of an ego.
Is it because he would be triggering that in you? Are you my brother?
No, listen, we're not going into that right now. But I'm just saying, we're not having a session on me right now.
What I think is
that's
amazing
one of the things
Kylie,
that I want to work on. What was that?
Well, that you can see things that we can see in the sessions. I think that really does freak me out. That stereo sight thing that you get into. That is a superpower. or a gift. Where does superpower begin and gift, or is it all the same?
It's all the same thing.
It's probably the same thing. It's probably the same thing. I think people just sometimes think like you know, I think it's the same thing. You know what I mean? And I think when you say superpower more, I think people more own it, because it sounds like there's ownership, that they have it, that it's there. Do you know what I mean? When it's a gift, it's like, you know, people say, oh, that's not me, it's my gift, you know, but it is you. Do you know what I mean?
That's true.
Giving things away, or giving, do you know what I mean? I'm that person that will say to you, you know, when somebody says something to you about, you know what I mean, how something brilliant you've done, stuff like that, and they say, oh, it's not me, you know, I'm just, you know, I'm just the vessel, it just comes through me, it's not me. No, I'm not giving it away. It's mine. I brought it in. It's here. And people might think that that's a really weird way to behave, but I do think that sometimes we just throw away so much of ourselves. We literally just throw away so much of ourselves and so much of who we are and who we've been able to, you know, because in order for those things to come in, you have to be at a certain frequency. You have to be able to anchor it. Do you know what I'm saying? Otherwise, it will pass you by. So, you know, I say, no, that was me. You know, that plate that just moved across the room, that was me.
This is Amanda changing my perception in real time. This is what it feels like when she says things like that. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm going to start owning that. That is bullshit.
Yeah.
So,
you know.
So here's my question. Do you think if you don't acknowledge your gift or superpower that it diminishes it?
Oh.
I believe it can... Sorry.
Go on, very quick. No, go on, Lauren. No.
I feel as though it can wreak havoc in your life if there is something that is your superpower that you don't own and use. I think it becomes a pain point. I think the universe starts throwing things at it for you to start using it.
Yeah.
Well, you sound like you're talking from experience, Lauren. If you feel like sharing.
Yeah.
Oh, no, nothing comes to mind. I'll just be quiet while Amanda goes through.
Well, no. Let's
make her say it. Make her say it, Lauren.
Yeah. No, really. I got nothing.
We're not letting this go for a moment. So one of the most obvious superpowers you have is your ability to speak and express in such a beautiful way. No matter what you're saying. And actually in our previous episode, when you were reading that passage and I had my eyes closed and I thought to myself, why doesn't she have a million meditations out? I could listen to this all day long. Like that's where my voice went. There is something about the words that come out of your mouth, how you say them, how you speak them, how you express it, the sound of your voice, everything all together is this beautiful gift. And when we sit here as a group, there are 3 of us that don't ever stop talking. Okay. And you, just like you did, like from when I first met you, you speak when you feel it's necessary. But there's this part of me that wants to go, when you speak, you share such beautiful things, don't hold it back. Like interrupt, don't apologize for it. Say what you need to say, get out all your words. Because when you speak, it is like beauty. And you say something that I may have said 10 times, but the way you said it, of course, right? Like when Amanda's like, you know, what Lauren said, that's the way you said it makes it come together. And that's such a beautiful gift that you have, that expression.
Yeah. And you know what? Can I add to that? The other day I was speaking to like my Bessie friend and I was explaining something to her. She listens to the show. So hi, Rhonda. I was explaining something to her and I said to her, you know, it's like Lauren, you know, because she knows each and every one of us. You know? And I said, you know, it's like Lauren, you know, with that ability that she has to hear the dud note. I said, that's what you need to listen. It was a conversation we were having around that. Do you know what I mean? And is that. And I think that is also one of your superpowers, to be able to hear that. Because I know what that is, because I think I have that too. And so, and it's wild when you hear things and you just know, it's sort of like, you know, there's beautiful music and then there's like, or there's like, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. But you know what it is? Because my friend, you know what I mean, she is a classical musician. And so, like I don't know if I mentioned this before, but so, you know, I remember I went to a show with her and I was, you know what I mean, and we were listening. Oh, I don't remember what it was or where it was. I think it may be, so I don't remember. Or I must have been, and to me, it was beautiful. Everything was wonderful. It was beautiful. And she could slightly hear what was off. And I'm thinking there was not a lick that was off, but she could hear it. You know what I mean? And so it's like that. That is your superpower, Lauren. And you do. And once you get a hold of it, you just pull on that string and you sort of like pull that string and you just start pulling like this. Lauren's like, yeah, keep talking. Lauren's like.
That's exactly what it's like.
You know what is interesting though? I know we've spoken about stutters before. I didn't have like a full-on stutter when I was little or anything, but I would really struggle to get my words out. And the thing is, with the things I have read out for you, with the things I've written, they're things that I actually feel and hear before they are written down. So I hear it in my head and I feel the energy of it, and then I write it down. But it's very, very different because I can deeply feel it and it feels true, or it strikes a chord. You know, it's like all of these, but I can get very stuck with my words, and you will have seen it at various points in time, because if I'm trying to explain something, or I'm trying to enter in a conversation where I'm not feeling it, or I haven't sort of hit that resonance within myself about what we're talking about, it's like I can't communicate at all. Isn't that interesting? So, you know, I would say communication is actually something that I really struggled with when I was younger. And to Jana's point about the sensitivity, and you guys are going to laugh what I've written like for today, because it's like, I'm like, oh my God, she said that. And so that'll be fun. But, you know, that sensitivity too, I had the same thing, you know, I cried all the time. I was that kid that cried all the time, and, you know, Lauren's upset again, and, you know, all of it. But if I didn't have that, I don't even think I could catch those words or those notes that are coming in for me to write this. Yeah. So I need to own that, and I need to harness that energy to be able to share that as well. So yeah, it's interesting because I can very much stumble over my words and not be able to communicate, but it's just when there's something about feeling it and writing, like the wave of resonance that it comes with. I wouldn't say I'm a confident speaker on just any topic, you know, like some people can be, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what's funny?
I've never found you trying to find your words.
Ever.
I have no memory of that. No memory. And we have spent hundreds of hours together. So, yeah.
But, you know, on that empath note, I actually get a lot of people who reach out to me and they're like, I don't see the benefit of being an empath. It's actually causing issues for me. Like, I'm trying to find one good thing in it and I can't. And that really surprises me, because in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, well, and I share this, I'm like, the ability to feel is such a gift, because there's so many people that walk around who are so numb to their own shit. They're numb to the world. They're numb to anything. And how can you have hope and faith and excitement and joy if you are just numb to it all? And so shifting the perspective of that can really also alter the experience of being empathic, you know, and that is such a superpower. And as we know,
it really is.
Yeah. And as we know, like everything, really there is a dark side and a light side to everything. So which side do you want to focus on? You want to focus on the positive? Well, there's a shit ton of positive things about feeling, being able to feel and being an empath and all that. So focus on that and watch everything kind of shift around you.
On that point, so that was something that I really struggled with, feeling so deeply. And, you know, the biggest thing with that, if you're listening and you have this experience, It's like, because you can feel what everyone's feeling, you almost think what everyone's thinking, and you kind of don't know where you end and they begin. So I just want to say, it took me a while and I felt very overwhelmed by it. And I would have been very, I don't know, why me, or sad about it, or victimy about it in the beginning, because I found it so overwhelming. But in my journey, what I found is the better, to Amanda's point, that I can know myself, then I can start to harness that ability. And it is a gift, because that is why I can do the work I do, and for it to help other people. So, yeah, just there is, to Amanda.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It is literally exactly what I was going to say. Many of us say being an empath, they'll just say, people will say, oh, I'm an empath. But really, what does that mean? It's about learning, really knowing who you are. It's about learning to decipher and to discern between what's yours and what belongs to somebody else. There's a reason why you're like that. And so it's learning how to be able to put in the different filters. So sometimes being an empath, you will struggle with it if you don't know. If you don't know what it means or what you have to do in order to be able to sort of section off other people's stuff. Do you know what I mean? Because it can be very painful. You can walk into a room and it can be very overwhelming, because everybody's stuff is coming at you and you don't really want it. So you've got to learn, what does this mean? How do I section that off? How do I stop all of that information coming to me? Because I don't really want to be inside other people's business. I know this is who I am, but I've not come here to be up inside your stuff, up inside your stuff, and up inside your stuff. But if we don't do the work to really figure out what that means and how we actually operate, then all it is that, I don't see the joy in being an empath, because it's just a lot of stuff. I'm feeling a lot of stuff like that. But what are you going to do about it? It's not just about, it's like somebody giving you a cup of tea and you're just holding it in your hand and saying, well, I've got a cup of tea. What are you going to do with it? You're going to drink it? You're going to sit it down? Or what are you going to do? Do you know what I mean? So, and that's what it is. You really have to. So many of us, we don't do the work. And it doesn't have to be work in the sense of you've got to do all the grueling, all the stuff. It could be fun. It could be joyous. Do the journey. It's you. It's you. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes it's also about you falling in love with yourself. I've always loved the saying that I heard years ago, you can't ask from somebody else what you are not willing to do for yourself.
Yes.
And so many of us are out there trying to get from other people what we haven't ever got in life. But if you're not willing to give it to yourself, you know what I mean? If you're not willing to be in love with you, to be in love with what you do, to be in love with your powers, your energies, your gifts, then why would you expect anybody else to appreciate it? So when somebody says to you, especially if you're working in this field, you have a beautiful gift, and I have that, and I love that session with you. If you say anything else other than thank you, say, oh, no, really, truly, I didn't do that. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. You're doing yourself a disservice, and you're doing them a disservice, because it doesn't allow for them to step into theirs.
The other thing that comes up with me with this empathy stuff is that I agree that you need to be able to recognize what's your shit and what's someone else's shit. But empathy is just so powerful to actually understand how someone's feeling, what's happening in the room. I'm only saying this for benevolent reasons, but it gives you a lot of information to actually control situations and outcomes to favorable, benevolent outcomes that you can drive. You just have to be aware that there will be some, you just have to be conscious that emotions can, when they're not yours, you can simplify them down to sensations you're processing in your body. And as I said, stay the course and direct what you want.
And people may be, don't cut it off. It is a part of you, and it is, it's not wrong, because that's the thing. So often, we're criticized for these things, and then it's like, oh, this is so overwhelming. And then it's like, well, you need to protect yourself. You shouldn't be doing that. I'm like, well, but why would I have this ability if I'm not meant to use it? Like, I'm not going to cut off a piece of myself and make that wrong or something that I need to ignore. So I just remember thinking, this is important. Like there has to be a way that this can be not used, but used for benefit and for it not to affect me so badly. But knowledge is power, and self-knowledge, to my point before, really, really is. Just don't cut these bits off. You can absolutely work with them. There is definitely a way. And I think it really starts with realizing that you would not have an ability, even if it's causing you some discomfort at some point in time, unless you were meant to use it in some way. And once I was able to discern and learn about myself and all the things I've spoken about, then things stopped affecting me quite as much as they used to. And now, if I do feel affected, I'm able to go, oh, this is why I'm feeling this way. It's actually not mine. I'm okay. And then you can, move on and live a normal life and all those sorts of things. In the beginning, it can be quite overwhelming, but don't cut it off. Don't shy away from it.
And can I add on to that too? And I think that's beautiful, is that I think that when you do acknowledge it and you're living that authentic, system of, I do have this gift and I'm going to embody it, you're then raising that vibrational level. And then everyone around you has that choice to meet you at that vibrational level, right? Or sometimes people will fade away. But those people that meet you at those vibrational levels will then mirror back to you and try to help you level up. And then you'll help each other. And then maybe that person will level up and then you'll keep meeting. So it's this beautiful, just the acknowledgement can snowball into other great things in your life of helping others to discover their superpower, for you to use your superpower, and things like that. So I just want to throw that in there.
I've also seen it to where a lot of people that at least I've worked with, and I absolutely have been one of them too. There's also a codependency that comes along with that, right? And trying to figure out where you begin and where you begin and where you end, that is part of that codependency. It's so easy for us to merge so much with other people because what we seek in others is a thing we're not giving to ourselves, right? And so you merge with, I need that person, and then you really can't figure out left from right. And being able to step into that independent energy and embodiment of, I still love you. You're still part of my team. We're still together, but I need to figure out my own shit, is a beautiful way of how you can really step into owning and loving that empathic side. I can still feel for you. I can be there for you. We can cry together. I can help you, but I can still be strong on my own where it doesn't knock me over, where your shit doesn't have to knock me over, but I can still be as supportive as I need to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a tough lesson, especially when you're in it. It's really hard to overcome.
It is. But then you got to be in it.
Yeah.
You got to be in it. You know what I mean? You've got to be in it. These things, we have all of these different things for a reason. Look, when I was very young, in my early teenagers, I was quite moody. I was very moody. I wasn't moody outside of my house. But inside my home, I was quite moody. I was quite a moody child in the sense that, I just loved to just stick my head in books. Didn't really want anybody to really trouble me. Didn't really speak to anybody too tough. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Didn't like getting in trouble. And I just loved reading. So I would just go stick my head in books and I just didn't want to speak to them. And I used to write poems, used to have poems, used to write them, put them on my walls, write stories and everything like that.
Erotic novels.
Erotic novels.
Erotic novels.
Mills and Boons.
One of Amanda's many superpowers.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But all of that was my growth and my training and my teaching into becoming who I am today. To be able to having that type of sensitivity as a very young person to what I have now. Do you know what I mean? To the point whereby, yes, they're my kids, but I can sense with them. I can just sense if they come in and something's not right. I can even sense from their words something's not right. Do you know what I mean? Because I can feel their energy.
Yep.
And And that's me. So, we go back to, again, I call a lot of things my superpower. I see, like, sometimes I see people that I know that, that if they were to sort of dive into it with the click of a finger, they could change things like that. They could just switch things up, or they could move things just like that. And I'd love to see them sort of like experiment with that and work with that and journey with that and see how that works and see how that changes. Because I just think that the more we do about ourselves, the more we move ourselves into a space of our original blueprint, then the more we imprint the Christ consciousness grids. And I think the more, just like what Kylie was saying, the more we begin to level up, the more we begin to take back and take back, instead of just being in this world as just sort of like empty vessels. Do you know what I mean? So I just think, it should become as norm as saying, look, somebody asked me the other day, what would I do? If I was to open up a business, say like something like a humanitarian business, apart from obviously what I do, what would you do? And I thought, oh no, I don't want to really do any business like that. And I thought I'd open a Hogwarts.
Totally.
I'd love to open a school whereby children of all ages could come and learn. And this is funny, we're having this conversation, because literally would have been about 4 weeks ago, it was in December, early December, I had this conversation, and I said that I would open a school for magical beings that and could you imagine getting those teachers that could come in?
Oh my goodness.
Seriously, got goosebumps on my scalp.
Mate, I'm like, when are we opening this school?
I've never heard of something like this. I think it's amazing.
But wouldn't it be? It would be amazing that all of these people and beings would start coming out of the sort of like woodworks, and you know what I mean, and just start attending, like they have this. We don't know what people have until you meet them, until they come out, until they feel safe enough to be able to show up and show what they have. I think it's like, yeah, wild.
Okay, so when are you opening?
Wild idea.
Spring of 2026. Like, what's happening?
What? Sorry, what?
Your school. When's your school opening? Spring of 2026.
Maybe.
I mean, the way you speak about it, in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's a reality.
But look, it could even just be like a Sunday school thing, that they go to once a week, or holiday things. I think I don't even have children, but I think it's such a gorgeous, fantastic idea.
I think so. Thank you.
Yes.
I think so. Whereby, all children from young, young, whatever, adults, everybody, there's a place whereby you can go to, and you have, your different classes, and you have like those teachers that can really, I just think that would just be phenomenal. I suppose a lot of people would be afraid as well.
A lot of people would be very grateful for you to provide that kind of opportunity.
Yeah. I'm signing
up.
Yeah, I would love to send Olivia to your school.
Oh wow!
You know what? I shared with Kylie the other day. There was one time we're sitting in the car, and we're at a red light, and at least in the States, like when a pedestrian passes away, like let's say they get hit by a car or something in the middle of the street, and they're riding a bike. What people will do is they will take a bike and they will paint it, and they will put flowers and all that, and they'll attach it to a post in that spot.
Yeah.
And so we're at this red light. Olivia's in the back, and I look over to my side, and I saw a bike, and it had a female's name on it. And in my mind, I start speaking to this soul, and I say something like, I hope you're okay. Like, I'm sending blessings her way. And all of a sudden in the back, Olivia goes, Mama, she can hear you. And right away, I knew what she was tapping into. And I go, who can hear me? And she goes, the girl. And I said, okay. And she goes, she said she's okay.
No.
And I was like, okay.
That makes me so
I know.
emotional.
So that's why you got to open your school so I can send her to you.
Yeah.
Build
absolutely
the gift, because I think especially with children, we dismiss and not intentionally.
We train it out of them, not as a parent, like just in society, in school
100%.
generally, right? We train it out of them.
Yes. And one of the first things that my first spiritual teacher, she taught me with children, she goes, don't ask yes or no questions. Ask open-ended questions. Let them answer, like otherwise they don't shut it down. Let them share everything. Don't ask them, is there a man there? Is there a woman there? Just ask them, what do you see? And that's how you help grow it and build it and all that. So I tried to do that with her in those moments where, because there's been a few moments where she's done that to me. And, and right away I'm like, oh my God, how can I don't want to miss the moment. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a beautiful gift and I want her to be comfortable to share that. And so, if she had Amanda as her teacher, my God.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
It is really cool.
I love that. I didn't know how much I would love that until when I said it, and then now hearing you speak about Olivia
it's a really good idea.
Way,
it's a really beautiful idea.
Wow, what a phenomenal sort of place, or to be able to.
Wouldn't it be cute if they could just wear whatever they wanted to wear? And just do like you could just, you know what I mean? As in they could turn up. You'd want the children to completely express themselves in every way and be exactly as they choose to be for that whole time they're at that school. That would be amazing.
No, they'd have to wear capes.
In whatever color they like.
But every kid would sign up for that.
Wear a cape, but they can choose their cape and they can have their cape made out of whatever they want. That would be amazing. I'd want to velvet.
Do you know my sister, her son, my nephew, Mears, she'd made a cape for him when he was very young, very little. He went everywhere in that cape. He went everywhere. He went to school. He went down the road. He went to the shops. He went everywhere in that cape.
I've already designed mine. Mine's like a marigold yellow and it's silk velvet with a silk lining, and it's really quite big and squishy, and when I'm cold it can be a coat. I'm there.
The first time I went to go see Esther Hicks, there was a woman who got called on stage, and her question was, I have a young child, and every time he is asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or what do you want to do? Like all that kind of thing. All he ever talks about is, I want to fly. I want to fly. I want to fly. That's it. It's all he talks about. And she goes, how do I nurture my child when they say all I want to do is fly? And Abraham responded with something along the lines of, take them on an airplane ride, or do the things that make them feel like they are flying, to embody that energy. Don't be like, well, you're a kid, you're a human, and you can't fly. Actually sit in the space of, how can I help my child feel like they're accomplishing?
Tap into it.
Yes, 100%. And I thought to myself, most people probably don't care for that question, but but how beautiful it is, right?
Yeah.
Like, go to Esther Hicks, people are like, I don't want to talk about your kid. I want to talk about like spiritual, you know what I'm saying? But it was so beautiful.
Teach them how to lucid dream, because you can fly when you're lucid dreaming, and it is, you feel it.
Yeah.
But the fact that the child is saying something that all I want to do is that I want to fly means that there's something that they have memory of.
Yes.
Something that they've brought back into this lifetime that they have memory of.
Oh, yeah.
It's so strong. It's so strong. Do you know what I mean? Of them flying, and who knows? But you see, until we do it, until we step into it, until we try and figure out, well, how do I create that space for them to do that? We're just never going to know, because what if she did start doing little things with him, like, enable it. I don't know. You have those kind of yogis. I mean, they spend years doing it, but I don't know how to do it. That they can literally lift off the ground, and they could be many feet off the ground, and you know what I mean, and stuff like that.
Yep.
We'll take them skydiving. I wouldn't do it, but
I've done it. It's fantastic.
Oh my God, seriously?
I would not do it again, only because when you do it the first time, it's tandem jumping. So the first 2 or 3 times you're required to jump off attached to somebody who's been trained. You can't do it by yourself. And so the first time, you're on the plane and you're just kind of like, you don't know what's happening, right? You're kind of in the moment and you're like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'm just waiting. And all of a sudden they attach you to the other person, and the person he's like moving you like through the plane, and you get to the door
I can't.
and you're just, yeah, it's crazy.
I have a heart attack.
Scary. And because when you tandem jump, you're not controlling anything. You're just along for the ride.
Yeah.
So I'm not over there going, okay, let me push myself off, because I don't know if I could do it. But he pushes you off. And the moment the parachute opens until you land, it is like the most peaceful space that you'll ever experience. You don't hear anything. You don't hear the wind. You don't hear people, cars, planes. You hear nothing. It's just like this peace. Oh my God, it was fantastic. But now knowing what I know, I don't know if I could do it again.
But you didn't hear yourself screaming, because that's all I'd hear going down.
No, I think it's one of those that like you think you're going to act a certain way, but then when you're actually doing it, you're not.
Like everything in life.
Like everything in life, totally. You're not as crazy. Unless, listen, if you're scared of heights, that's a different.
I am.
Okay, well.
Yeah, I'm probably those ones. I'm one of those ones that would probably faint. So the whole dive is
skydiving for
lost
Amanda.
on me.
What you were saying before just brought something up for me when you were speaking about the child and flying. I just wanted to say, you don't have to know what it's going to look like, but start working with what's being presented to you and your energy, and then it will open up more. So you don't have to know how it's going to work, what the picture's going to be, but rather than potentially resisting what's coming, just lean into it and see what comes.
So on that note, do you want to read your lovely words to us?
Ooh, yes. Okay. This one's a little bit longer, but
settle in.
Indulge me. What if the exact things that we thought were wrong with us our entire life, things we were possibly taunted or teased about, were actually our secret superpowers? Think about it for a moment. Were you told you were too sensitive, or that you thought too much, or that you cared about others and took on their burdens unnecessarily? Perhaps you're bossy or you're selfish. These things are neither good nor bad. It depends on the consciousness woven into their expression. Regardless, they have hidden treasures in them, little insights into what your secret superpower really is. We each have our own superpowers. We are all unique, even though we are all the same. We share many of the same fears and at our core have the same needs of love and acceptance. We have gifts and talents that often lay dormant. It is time to explore, remember, and bring them into our now. Even just a little, baby steps. Embrace that which you thought was a fault and realize it is what makes you unique and needed in this world. It is time for you to own it and hone it. To step into your mastery, one moment, one version of you at a time. And to be the light you have always been in the truth that you are.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, Lauren.
There was a line for Amanda in there. Could you tell?
That would be the hone it line, would it?
Own it and hone it, baby.
All right, Kylie. How we following up with that beautifulness?
Thank you, Lauren. Yeah.
So that's a hard act to follow after I tell you what. But okay, bringing in Rebecca Campbell, the Healing Waters Oracle. So we have the card. It's a bit kind of hard to see. It's called the Wellspring. Which way are we going? So it's basically about cocooning yourself. It's about asking, what am I thirsty for? What am I wanting? And then it's about body care. It's about taking care of yourself and nurturing that and being in that cocoon and really just sinking into yourself. So
Love that.
I ask you, what are you thirsty for?
I love
How do you
that.
get to that point? Well,
Could that also be, what do you, being in that cocoon, what do you, because inside that cocoon, say like if it's a butterfly, because I always use the emoji of a butterfly because it's transformation. So inside that cocoon, and I always talk about being in that cocoon and the transformation that happens from a caterpillar to butterfly. So that's what that feels like.
exactly. Yep,
Feels like
absolutely. And during that
beautiful.
time, you have nothing but to rest, right? And
Yes.
to take care of yourself and eat and just do the
Okay.
basic.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I love that you elaborate on that, because when you said, what are you thirsty for?
Nice.
Yana and Rachel went somewhere else.
Well, yeah.
Down under.
Yana went to Coke,
Look at
just
them.
by the way. So I don't know what you guys are thinking
Oh,
of.
I was in Vegas.
She was, or maybe
Yeah.
she
Up
was
there
thirsty
with
for
Magic
good
Mike
times.
going
But
on.
So was I.
Oh,
So was
okay.
I.
And this is
So
so
was I.
funny because
I was like, I'd like a coffee.
the sen-
I went to a
It's
little
like a
bit of
decaf latte that
Sorry.
someone else
Yeah.
made.
Yana, you
Thanks.
go first. Yana.
No, I was just saying, like, I went to a little bit of sexiness, like
Okay.
Well,
that romance.
And
Yeah.
and the sentence that I had in my head when Kylie was speaking and when we were talking about it was like, the only love affair is the one that I want to have with myself.
Mm.
And us
There you
and
go.
each other.
But
Yeah,
I have to say,
but
this
that's
is
kind
Rebecca
of-
Campbell's fault because it's on the card.
Oh,
What
what are you
are
thirsty
you
for? Body care,
thirsty
take a
for?
I
breath.
take
Yeah.
credit for that.
But go into your cocoon and have a love affair with yourself in
Yes.
in a, not in a Vegas way. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay, everybody, this concludes our episode. Thank you for joining us today. If you are interested in booking a reading, a healing, a guided meditation session, a light body activation, or simply want to say hello, head on over to yoursoulwisdomshow.com. We thank you for allowing us to create this beautiful space, and we hope you have a beautiful, blessed day. Bye, everybody.